What up, guys? Alchemist here. I got something nice for you. So, this is not a try-hard build. This is not a mythic build, okay? I want to make sure I stress that enough before I showcase the build. I need to let you guys know you do not take this into minus 50. You take this into, you know, 40 or some crap, okay? Negative 40. But you do not take this in very hard content. You know it's very hard content because the difficulty will legit say very hard before you launch the mission. It will say very hard. It will have the red skull on it. This is not that. This is for hard difficulty, negative 40, okay? Once you cross negative 50, it's a no-go, okay? If you're still confused on what I mean, I'm really trying to get this point stressed across, okay? I don't want y'all going to no LFG group and then they kick you and then you're wondering why they kicked you because your build is trash because you want to take this build inside freaking mythic and stuff, okay? When you do a mission, it got this right here. This is hard difficulty. Hard difficulty is anything that is negative 30 and negative 40. The moment you buff up your light difference by a negative 50, and it gotta be exactly negative 50, the moment you bump it up negative 50, you see it's not exactly negative 50, okay? It's like negative 47 right here. So you're still in hard difficulty. It's still easy. The moment you bump them up to negative 50, it says very hard. The enemies will have a skull on their name, okay? That's what I usually test the try hard builds in. Very hard. This is for hard difficulty, okay? And of course it's for, you know, normal difficulty. You got easy right here, and normal would be negative 30, like I said. Negative 20, negative 30, something like that. So do not take this build in negative 50, okay? Now that that's out the way. This is the build, okay? This is the build. We're gonna get all these enemies grouped together. Matter of fact, make it easier. We're gonna get the enemies all grouped together. And the reason why y'all don't see a face cam, because I don't want to be associated. If you get kicked from an LFG group, you're gonna show them this video. I'm like, it wasn't me. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's late at night, so yeah. But this is the whole point of the build. This is the whole point of the build. Okay? Literally, you can do infinite rifts. That's the point of the build. It's amazing, okay? And you probably see it in the top right corner as well. So, there is a lot of stuff going in this build that involves your infinite rifts in this build. But let's go back. First, the exotic we're using is Vesper of Radius. Vesper of Radius says rifts periodically, let me slow down, release arc shockwaves. Final blows with these shockwaves create an arc explosion. We can't read the second part because we're not using arc for this build. But we do got the last part that says rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by targets. So if I bring these enemies back, if I'm surrounded by 3 enemies within 15 meters, I'll get my rift back. Well, my rift regen time gonna go up by like 1200%. So let me get surrounded by them, and you're gonna see the class ability gauge go up insane. You see how just going up at an insane rate? That's because of Vesper Radius, okay? Now, the exotic we run in this build is very important. You have to use this weapon for the synergy in this build. It just works very well. Is Adra's Scepter. And that's only because Adra's Scepter got a perk called Adra's Call, where final blows this weapon generate a slowing burst around the defeated target. It says slow burst, but they might as well say freeze burst. It does 100 times 100 slow, so any enemy that get hit by the slow get frozen. So if I kill this Hush right here, that enemy got frozen. If I kill him, that enemy got frozen. It don't have to be a precision shot. It could be a body shot. He get frozen. Just any kill fit, okay? Very important this build. Make sure I remember that, okay? And then if you got the catalyst, it just makes the weapon even better. By the way, stasis final blows, transfer ammo to this weapon magazine from reserve, so it's going to be rarely of you ever reloading this weapon. Now, if you go to the catalyst and make it that when you go into a super state, where basically you use your super bar, the stasis super for Warlock is not really good, so this is amazing. We don't feel like we're losing anything in this situation. You drain your super bar and increase the damage of this weapon, and as you shoot enemies with it, it does slow and freeze them without having to kill them, and it keep reloading the weapon for you from reserve, so you don't have to worry about reloading. Very strong weapon indeed. Really do feel like a super and a gun. Okay, that's the only weapon that's mandatory in this build. You can run whatever else you want in the energy slot and heavy slot. Now, artifact. There are only 2 things that's very important in this artifact for us, and well, maybe 3. In the second column, we got on 1 with frost, where basically we got frost armor on and making that your stasis weapon reload faster and have better stability. Just an extra bump. This is not really important in this build at all. It's not important. In this column, we got frost renewal. This is very good. Why we got frost armor? If we get red health, it freezes all the enemies near us, and gives us frost armor. This is very important in the build we're doing. Y'all understand we get into the subclass. This right here is very important in this build. Refresh threads. We're basically picking up elemental pickup, aka stasis shards. We'll get ability energy for our least charged ability. So as long as we're making infinite stasis shards, we're gonna be getting energy for our least charged ability at that moment. By the way, October 7th, Bungie is changing the aspect inside stasis, where basically we can make infinite shards in stasis. No more of a cooldown way at that aspect on, which is phenomenal. So this artifact perk gonna become insane when that comes out October 7th. We got on elemental overdrive as our last important mod / perk in this build, which is picking up elemental pickup, increase the damage of your weapon matching the same element of the elemental pickup. Stasis shard will give us 10% increased damage for our stasis weapon. Mod will get that extra damage for Aegis Scepter. Now, the main important thing in this build. In here, you want to rock Healing Rift. This is for survivability. You will not need Empowerment Rift to get the Rift back quicker. Trust me, you're going to be getting it back quicker. So this is for survivability. So you can just pop your Rift in people's faces so that you can be within that 15 meters of the enemies when you're rocking the Vesper Radius, and you want the enemies to be within your Rift when you're doing this so that they take damage from Vesper Radius. Burst Glide, Penumbra Blast. You want Cold Snap on. This is very important. You want to freeze the enemies to make this build work, okay? The more freezes, the better. Just like I said, Aegis Scepter freezing, very important. Glacial Harvest. This allows us to get frost armor when we pick up stasis shards, and this help us, and it allows us to make stasis shards from freezing targets. So very important. Now, this is the bread and butter of this build. Frost Post. Frost Post allows us to cast our Rift and generate a shockwave that frees nearby combatants. But it's the second part that Bungie changed that made this better. I believe they just recently buffed this, where it says freezing combatants generate class ability energy. Just freezing. So whether I freeze people with Aegis Scepter, whether I freeze people with Cold Snap, whether I freeze people with Penumbra Blast, no matter how I freeze people, even with the artifact, no matter how I freeze people, I will get class ability energy. So if I pop my Rift over here, because I freeze this one right here, I got literally chunks of class ability from that. Now, you see I have no class ability energy. Now, if I kill this enemy and it frees that person, I got a chunk. Kill that enemy, freeze that person. 2 of them. I got chunk class ability energy. So long as I'm freezing people, I get chunks of class ability energy, allowing me to get my Rift back as soon as possible for myself, okay? Now, that's not the only thing. So now I just told you guys, we're popping our Rift to freeze people to get class ability energy. We also getting that uptime of class ability energy when we're surrounded by enemies because of Vesper Radius, right? Now, we also getting class ability energy for our least charged ability from stasis shards, as long as we're not using our Cold Snap or Penumbra Blast. So as long as we don't have, as long as we have full melee and full grenade at the moment, and we just pop our Rift, any stasis shard we pick up will give us class ability energy. So stasis shard energy, okay? If I kill these enemies over here, I'm gonna leave a stasis shard over there. I'm gonna drop this Rift right now on purpose. I'm gonna go over here and pick up this shard. And I just got a chunk of class ability energy. So you kind of purposely want to not use your grenade and melee if you don't have to, in order for you to make your class ability come back even quicker. But there's also one more thing in the build that's allowing us to get our class ability back even quicker than that. Our fragments. So we got fragment on. When we got frost armor on, we get grenade energy whenever we take damage. So this allows us to get our Cold Snap back very quick to freeze more enemies for our Rift. for more freeze capabilities. We got Whisper of Radius on to give us extra stacks of frost armor and allow frost armor to stay on. So this allows frost armor to stay on for 13 seconds, and 8 stacks of frost armor is 50% damage reduction. 50%. You stack that with a healing rift and you're dang near unkillable. Okay, we got on Whisper Conduction, so the stasis shards can come to us, so we don't have to worry about having to pick them up. And if you didn't know, on stasis fragments stasis shards do give us health. So the more stasis shards that's coming to you, you get chunks of health while you pick it up for survivability. So if you run into a group and pop your stasis rift and they shooting you while you're doing the animation and stuff, don't worry, you're gonna freeze them. You're gonna get chunk of health because you just made shards from freezing them because of glacial harvest. You freeze them immediately, they make 2 stasis shards, they're gonna get attracted to you, and boom, your health is back up with the healing rift healing you. You get frost armor from the stasis shard, so you're gonna most likely have ×8 frost armor for 50%. You're unkillable basically. Okay, but the main thing that's important in this build is Whisper of Refraction. Defeating slowed or frozen targets grant you class ability energy. So not only are you getting class ability energy from freezing people in general, you're getting energy for killing them as well. This is allowing us to basically do infinite rifts in this build. Now the next thing that's important in this build is class ability stat. You want to aim for 200. I repeat, you want to aim for 200 class ability stat. This allows you to do the animation in enemy faces without caring about dying, because the moment you pop that rift, you're gonna get an overshield, and then by that time the station shards will come to you, give your health back. By the time your overshield from this class ability goes away in 5 seconds, your health will be regened again. So to give you an example of that, and then the rest of the stats you want to put is in weapon. You got Age of Scepter on. You want to be above 100 so that you ain't struggling to get your ammo for Age of Scepter, because that's the main weapon you're gonna be using in this build. So aim for 160 weapon, 160 class ability, and then I say 100 super, so that you can spam Age of Scepter's super form. That's what I will say, what the stats you want in this build. In case you're wondering, if you got perfect tier 5 armor, the max total stats you can have in this game is 500 distributed in all your stats. So it's very possible to get 160 weapon, 160 class ability, and 100 super. That's literally, what is that, 320 for, that's literally 420 stats. You still have 80 stats left over, so it's very possible to get those stats ratio down for this build. But to show you a good example of what I mean by that for survivability, if we go to the high captains, because they probably the most deadliest when they're in a group together, a bunch of thugs. You put them together, right? And I'll make them fight me, and you're gonna see what I mean. We just got that overshield, kill some enemies. I can slide to this group, they shooting at me, don't matter, I got frost armor, pop that. I was over gonna die, but you seen what happened, right? Back to full health again. Got my class ability again, run back, pop it. Yep. And then now this lonely knight by itself, die alone. So that's to just show you guys why you want that class ability stat up there, because it basically make it that you're very safe to pop the rift in front of enemies. Even if you finna die, if you have 1 health, if you get that animation off, you will get the overshield and you will not die, and you'll be back in a safe situation again. Now, armor mods. The reason why I say go for 100 super, because we are rocking Dynamo in this build, so you will get super energy whenever you pop your rift near enemies. We got special ammo finder to help us get more ammo for Age of Scepter, harmonic siphon, so Age of Scepter make or the power out there for us. We got bolstering detonation and focusing strike on, so whenever we do our melee grenade, we get class ability energy back. Your last slot can be whatever you want. Chest piece we got on melee damage resistance, so whenever we surround it, which we're gonna be doing on purpose, you got 15% damage resistance. And then we got 2 harmonic ammo generations on to give Age of Scepter plus 40 in its ammo stat, which will give it 84, which is very good for, you know, getting that ammo special ammo bar ammo generation bar up. We got stasis weapon surge on, better already, so pick up the orb, start health regen. And then we got stasis scavenger on, so that we can get more ammo whenever we do pick up a special ammo brick. Class item we got on Reaper. We pop in our Rift a lot, so whenever we get a kill, we make an orb power out there. And I got 2 class fonts on to give them that plus 40 class ability stat, so I technically have 200 class ability stat in this build. That's the build. Now, I said do not take this in harder in content, because I done made multiple different builds on the channel that is meant for harder in content. This is just not one of them. This is for fun, okay? You take this in negative 40, you ain't worry about nothing. You're literally killing the enemies when you pull up on them with the Rift. They literally die from one hit with the Shattering and the Electric Pulse from Vesper of Radius. So, yeah, negative 40, negative 30, which you're going to be doing most content in, you can use this build. Mythic, don't recommend. And just in case y'all wasn't paying attention of the electricity on the ground. So, slows, this the electricity, right? It's going to pulsate every, like, 5 seconds. It pulsates when you first put it out there, I believe, and then every 5 seconds it pulsates. So if you're killing a lot of enemies, you want to just put multiple ones out there in the area and just make it like a triangle formation and just circle around in that triangle formation, so while the enemy's trying to run at you and stuff, they'll get hit by the arc pulse waves from your rifts. Now, if you wanted to make this build try hard, all you have to do is take this exotic off and put on Stag. That's all you would do. And then literally when you fight somebody like the Knights, for example, if I go over here and turn the Knights back on again, pause, right? Turn the Knights on, go out here, and it'll be the same situation, but this time you're literally taking a lot less damage because of the damage resist you get from having Stag on. You're literally unkillable, okay? I didn't want to make a separate build video for this. I just wanted to show you guys in this video. So you can still do infinite rifts with Stag, and you're unkillable with Frost Armor on and the Stag doing this damage resist for you. So if you did want to take this side Mythic, you definitely could with Stag on, and you'll be able to pop multiple rifts non-stop, freezing everything and getting your rift back 24/7. So that's the try hard build, okay? That's try hard build. Vesper is just more fun to use. If you wanted to be unkillable, use Stag, but at that point just use my Strand build with Stag that can be deadly while also being unkillable. Anyway, love you guys, appreciate you guys as always, and until next time, stay up.